Hey everybody, I'm Jacob Castro and welcome to another video here on Jacob's Aquarium. Hope you guys are doing good and I hope your tanks are doing good as well. Today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about filter socks. So with my 2,000 gallon aquatic plant system here at Jacob's Aquarium HQ, I use a 100 micron sock and a 1 micron nylon mesh sock. And the reason why I use both of those together is because when you use a nylon sock inside of a 100 micron sock, you actually prolong the life of the 100 micron sock. And the nylon sock helps prolong the life of the 100 micron sock by trapping all the larger debris that would otherwise be broken down into much smaller debris and clogging, which would clog the 100 micron sock and eventually clog it to the point where it would be impossible to clean. And then the 100 micron sock would basically be useless because it wouldn't allow any water to pass through. So using both of these together gives me the ability to prolong my 100 micron sock and save me some money as well, because these socks are not cheap, and being that that's all I use, it would cost a lot if I was replacing them like once every 2-3 weeks. Now I'm going to show you guys how I clean my micron socks, but before we do that, I just wanted to say I use micron socks because they filter water 100% and they do a really great job at filtering water. Not everybody has the opportunity to use micron socks because a lot of people have smaller aquariums where they'll be using power filters, hang on the back filters, whatever you want to call them, sometimes in-tank filters, canister filters, whatever. Those types of filters don't really allow you to utilize a micron sock, but for those of you that have wet dry filters and sump filters, custom sump filters, whatever, you guys basically know what I'm talking about. These people, the people that use these types of filters are really the only ones that are able to use micron socks with their system, just because a sump or a wet dry gives you a lot of different options when it comes to filtration, and basically you can just throw so much stuff into it because it's just one big open tank of all filtered. I love micron socks because they filter water really good. Whenever I've done maintenance on the pond and stirred up a lot of the substrate and clouded the water pretty bad, the micron sock that I have in my system will clear up the pond within a matter of hours, you know. And on top of that, you can also use different type of or different micron sizes of filter socks. For those of you that don't know, the micron size is just a little tiny hole in the fabric that the sock is made out of that allows water to pass through. The smaller the micron, the more it will filter out. However, the smaller the micron, the faster the filter will get clogged. For example, if I use the 1 micron regular filter sock, not a nylon mesh sock, but a regular filter sock with the pond, it'd be clogged up in a matter of minutes, guaranteed, because it just traps so much debris. If I kept using that sock, the water would be like crystal immaculate clear, but I'd be going through filter socks like crazy. So for aquariums, saltwater aquariums, freshwater aquariums, brackish-water aquariums, you can pretty much use micron socks with any type of aquarium application or aquarium environment, whatever you want to call it. Typically people like to stay around the 100 micron or even 200 micron size, just because that micron size allows water to be filtered really good and a lot of fine particles to be captured in the micron sock, but still allows water to pass through it even once it starts to get a little clogged and pick up some debris. That's not saying that it won't get clogged 100% and you'll have to clean it, but nonetheless it'll allow water to pass through without trapping every single microscopic particle in your water and clogging up in a matter of minutes. So if you're planning on using a micron sock for the first time, stick with a 100 micron or 200 micron sock. 100 micron, being that it's a little, the hole pores or the holes are a little bit smaller, it'll clog up a little faster. It also depends on what type of system you have it on. If you have it on a tank with, you know, 4 large Oscars that are producing a lot of waste, well, it's probably gonna get clogged up in a matter of days. But but if you have it on a planted tank with a bunch of small fish and it's an established planted tank, it'll probably get clogged up once every 2 weeks. You know, it just honestly depends on your system, but it also depends on the micron size. So smaller micron will get clogged up faster, larger micron won't, but then again, the larger micron will trap less debris. But that's not to say that a 200 micron sock won't do a great job at filtering water. It really will still do a great job at filtering water, and you can still get really great results with a 200 micron sock. Now, one of the concerns that a lot of people have with micron socks and wet dry filters in general with planted tanks is the loss of CO2. A lot of people, for those of you that don't know, when you have a lot of water movement in a planted tank, like let's say you have an air stone in there, or you have a filter or pump disturbing the surface of your aquarium, any type of excess water movement will dissolve a lot of the gases that are in your water. And if you're injecting CO2, well, it's going to dissolve that gas as well. And being that plants love CO2 and we're injecting it for a reason, dissolving that gas will not help us at all. So a lot of people prefer not to use wet dry filters or micron socks because they are an all open filtration system where water is sloshing around and being piped to different parts of the filter. It would just cause a total loss of CO2. However, if you can find a way to close off your wet dry filter, like if you can put a lid on top of your wet dry filter and seal it, make it airtight, you can prevent a lot of CO2 loss, and you can still use a wet dry filter with a planted tank. I've honestly never tried to do that. I've just used a wet dry filter on a planted tank, and I've hoped for the best, and for the most part, when I've done it in the past, it's worked out, you know. But I'm not going to say that it would work out for every, you know, type of planted tank, just because I haven't tried that. But if you can find a way to close off a wet dry filter, which I'm sure there's tons of DIY methods out there and tons of things that you can read about how to do that on the internet, so it's just a matter of doing some research. But if you can find a way to do that, you can definitely utilize micron socks with a planted tank, and you'll get great water filtration. I encourage you guys to try a micron sock, because if you really need to get your water nice and clear because you have a lot of messy fish or whatever, a micron sock definitely will do that. And that's why I've chosen to use one. With all the moving around that I do, all the plants I'm ripping out of substrate all the time, my water can get cloudy quite quickly. And without a micron sock, my pond would be cloudy 100% of the time, which would then block light from coming into the pond, which would then prevent some of the plants from growing, and we don't want that, do we? So a micron sock was absolutely vital to my whole setup, and it's worked wonders. And as you can see, it keeps my water crystal clear, and that's always something that people are surprised about. Whenever they see my pond in my videos, they're always like, God, how do you get your water so clear? You know, people go through it in their head. They're like, okay, the pond is outside, it's exposed to full sunlight 100%, like all day, you know. You have a bunch of plants in there, but you know, it's a messy operation. How do you keep your water so clear? How are you keeping it algae free? You know, keeping the pond algae free is a whole nother video. But I keep the water crystal clear with the mixture of things. You know, a UV sterilizer for one does a great job, but the micron sock for the most part is the number one thing that I utilize to keep my water crystal clear, because it traps all that fine particulate that accumulates in my water because of everything that's going on, you know. So yeah, so now that I've finished my speech on micron socks, let's go ahead and clean my micron sock and get it nice and fresh and ready to put back into my system. By the way, the 100 micron sock that I've been using, I've had for almost a year. So that's been really nice, because before I discovered a way of prolonging the life of my 100 micron sock, I was going through micron socks probably once every, I would say, once every 3 weeks to a month. And these things are like maybe $7-8 a piece. So, you know, if you do the math, it's not a lot of money, but it's still money that, you know, I really didn't have to spend, you know. So I've saved a little bit of money, you know, using a nylon sock with my 100 micron sock. So there's a benefit to that. So let's go ahead and clean my micron socks now. So as I mentioned, I use a sump filter for the main filter for my 2,000 gallon aquatic plant system. And my micron socks are suspended from the ceiling of my greenhouse with these two hooks that are typically used to suspend hydroponic lights over growing systems. And there's the nylon mesh sock that sits inside of my 100 micron sock. And as you can see, it's quite dirty. It has a lot of large debris trapped in it and a bunch of algae and stuff like that as well. And to clean it, I basically just put my garden hose sprayer on a jet setting and just spray it out. And as you can see, a lot of even fine particulate gets caught in this nylon mesh sock, because you can see how the color has changed of the material. That material should basically be pure white, but you can see it's kind of like a yellowish color, and that's even all the small debris. So a nylon mesh sock also traps a lot of small debris as well, so that's also a big help. Now cleaning the 100 micron sock, the regular sock, is pretty much, I clean it the same way. I just use a much more jet-like setting on my garden hose, just because I want as much pressure or as much water pressure as possible to get every ounce of dirt out of these micron socks as I can. If you guys have like a pressure washer that you use to like wash your car or something, that would be even better, because you can get even more gunk out of these micron socks, but a simple garden hose with the jet setting should be sufficient. So once I've done that, I just put the nylon sock back in the 100 micron sock and install it back onto my filtration system. So pretty simple, there's really no science to it. Obviously, I don't even know why I'm showing you guys this. Maybe to just show you guys in greater detail how I utilize micron socks, for those of you that have been wondering. But yeah, it's a great system, and like I said, my micron socks have lasted me a lot longer than they have before using both of these two different socks together. It just works really, really well. So that pretty much does it for this video here on Jacob's Aquarium. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you would like to buy any of the plants you've seen in this video, please visit my website, jacobsaquarium.com. It's my aquatic plant business where I sell all the beautiful plants that you've seen in Super Pond today, and they're available right now for a very, very affordable price, probably the most affordable price on the internet. And also don't forget to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All my social media links will be in the description below. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Have fun with your tanks, and I'll see you next time.